Welcome to the Value Stuff Podcast. I am your host, Daniel Glazier. I am a certified personal property appraiser and I value stuff for a living. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share so we can keep growing this podcast. Today, I want to talk about sentimental items. This is the final part 4 of the 4-part series on the VHS system. Again, the VHS system stands for your most valuable items, your family heirlooms, and your sentimental items. We already talked about in the previous podcast, most valuable items and family heirlooms. Now we're talking about sentimental items. And sentimental items, there's 2 parts. It's what's sentimental to you, but also what's sentimental to your family. Again, it's the VHS system is a system where we get a notebook and then we write down all the items that fall in the categories of most valuable, family heirlooms, and sentimental items. The first part was your most valuable items, and your second part was the family heirlooms, and then the sentimental part is what we're talking about today. Again, go around with your notebook, and you're going to go the same way you did with the other 2 valuables and heirlooms. You're going to go around room to room. You're going to write down all your sentimental items. And what sentimental items is, these are items that are personal to you. It's not just a water bottle. Maybe it's a water bottle that you got because you ran a marathon, or, that's very hypothetical, but it's just something that's got some sentimental value to you. And you go around and you write it all down, and you might want to put a little note, just like you would with family heirlooms, why it's sentimental, because your family might, take a little more care with it once they know why it was sentimental to you. It might become sentimental to them. The other part of sentimental is, this is when you need to talk to your family. When your family comes over, especially your children, you would say to them, are there items in the house or items that I own that are sentimental to you? You might be surprised. There might be items there that you didn't think were that sentimental, but to your children, they might be. It could be something as simple as a piece of costume jewelry. It might not have a lot of money monetarily. It might not be a family heirloom yet because it hasn't been passed down. But now it's going to become a family heirloom because, say, your son or daughter, they do want it. Well, that's what I mean by sentimental. You need to communicate with this one. When you're talking about your most valuable items and stuff, that's really up to you to decide. Family heirlooms, you probably know more what's a family heirloom than the rest of your families because it's been passed down to your family. The sentimental items, you need to write down what's sentimental to you, but again, what's sentimental to your family. Go around the house and also talk to your family. What is sentiment? You might be surprised. It could be a frying pan. It could be a pen that we always sign their report cards with. It could be some really basic things, but they want it because they care about it. And what we're trying to do, the whole VHS system is a system that I've come up with. This is to help prevent our families from having problems after we pass on. And it's a system and a plan we're going to make for our stuff before we die. So after we die, there isn't all this family strife and stress and chaos. Again, we're gonna just overload it in the book, write it all down. So once you've done this, you're done with the sentimental. We're finished part A. We've done the most valuable items, the family heirlooms, and the sentimental items. The next part is we're gonna go through the list. And we're gonna cross off. We're gonna go through it. Give it a second, third, fourth look. Decide that isn't really that valuable. This isn't really a family heirloom. Maybe this isn't that sentimental. Cross off there. But what we're gonna do is, when you've done with that overloaded list, we're gonna make another list, and we're gonna call it a clean list. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a list, the clean list. And the clean list is gonna have all the items listed there. And then we're going to make copies of that clean list. We're going to give it to each member of our family. And then we're going to ask them ahead of time, are there items on this list that you would like once I'm gone? I know it might sound morbid, but we're doing this while we've got a lot of energy and we're healthy. And we could say to our kids, no, this is going to be in 10 and 20 or 30 years when I pass on. I'm not terminally sick. It's not going to be for something for next week. But give it to your family. Give them a week or 2 and then say, I'd like the list back. You get to look at the list. You get to see there's going to be items on the list nobody wants. So we can actually cross that off, take it off. But there's going to be items on the list maybe more than one family or have wants. So those are we really want to identify those items, because if there's more than one family member wants those items, they could potentially cause a lot of problems for us after we pass on. And what we're going to do is we're going to decide what happens with those. An example might be, you might have a really nice watch, a Rolex watch. You have 3 kids, 3 children. They all want it. That's going to be a red flag, could be a problem. We're going to make a decision before we pass on that. We might just say, that is to be sold when I pass on, or we might sell it beforehand. That's the whole point of doing this, is we're identifying the items that could potentially cause a lot of problems after we pass on. When you write everything down, you might have a few hundred items down once you've gone through the most valuable family heirloom sentimental items. Once you've gone through it yourself, we might be down to 100 or even less. And then by the time we get it back from our family, there's probably only about 30 or 40 items that people actually want, but now we've identified them and we can make a plan for them. That's the whole point of this VHS system. Thank you so much. I hope this helps. We're trying to have less tears and more laughter. Thank you very much. Dan Glazier, the Value of Stuff podcast.